There is a heavy burden in carrying a secret, but there is a much heavier price to pay for revealing one. We are often told that the truth will set us free, but in the delicate web of family, some truths act more like a wildfire. Once they are out, they burn everything you've spent a lifetime building. Today, we look at the 6 pillars of your life that must remain yours, and yours alone. 1. The exact depth of your savings. I learned this the hard way, and it is a scar I still carry. Years ago, in a moment of pride, I let my extended family know exactly how well I was doing. I thought they would be proud. Instead, the atmosphere in the room changed instantly. I wasn't uncle anymore. I was a bank. I remember my cousin, someone I grew up with, asking for a loan for a business that didn't even exist. And when I eventually had to say no, the resentment was not quiet, it was heavy, almost physical. We haven't spoken in 10 years. My wealth didn't bring us closer. It became the very thing that tore us apart. Keep your balance private, so your relationships can remain human. 2. The specifics of your will. I once received a letter from a viewer. Let's call her Mary. Mary believed that honesty would prevent conflict, so she told her 3 children exactly how she planned to divide her estate. She thought she was doing the right thing. But instead of peace, she invited quiet judgment into her life. Every time she bought something for herself, a dress, a small trip, even a simple comfort, she could feel their eyes. They weren't seeing their mother enjoying her life. They were seeing their inheritance being reduced. The competition between siblings began before she was even gone. If you want your children to love each other when you're no longer here, keep the numbers between you and your lawyer. And before we go further, if these stories are speaking to something deep inside you, subscribe, and stay with us. This is a place where wisdom is shared quietly, and with care. 3. Shadows of the past. I watched my own sister, a woman of incredible grace, nearly destroy her life because of a need to confess. Many years ago, early in her marriage, she made a mistake, brief, and long buried by time. For 30 years, it stayed in the past. But one day, weighed down by guilt, she chose to tell her husband. She believed it would bring peace. Instead, it took his away. He had lived 3 decades in trust and devotion, only to discover a truth he had never needed to carry. He forgave her, but something inside him changed. The light in his eyes, it never fully returned. If you have truly learned, grown, and become better, sometimes the kindest thing you can do, is to let the past remain where it belongs. Your healing should not become someone else's burden. 4. Your true feelings toward family members. Imagine a grandfather sitting quietly at the head of a table, watching his family laugh, talk, and grow. There is someone at that table he does not like, not even a little. But he never lets it show. Not once. He speaks with respect. He behaves with calm dignity. Why? Because he understands something deeper than emotion. If he speaks his truth, his son will be forced to choose. And a divided family rarely heals. So he chooses silence, not as weakness, but as protection. Because sometimes, holding your tongue is the strongest act of love. He takes his discomfort with him, and leaves behind a family that remains whole. Be the bridge, even when it feels heavy beneath your feet. 5. The idea of a favorite child. There was a mother in my neighborhood, kind and gentle, with 4 grown sons. Near the end of her life, in a moment of fading awareness, she whispered to her eldest that he had always been the one. She thought it was a gift. But it became a wound. Those few words created a silent distance between brothers that never fully healed. The others felt as though they had spent their lives competing for something they were never meant to receive. And the eldest, he carried a weight he never asked for. Love should never feel like a competition. It should feel like sunlight, touching every part of the tree with equal warmth. Keep your preferences in the quiet corners of your heart. 6. The poison of others. Protect the peace inside your marriage. I once knew a couple who were deeply connected, steady and strong. But one day, a well-meaning friend shared what the husband's family had been saying about the wife behind her back. Comments, opinions, judgments that had never reached her ears before. The husband had heard them for years, but he chose silence. He chose to protect her. He was her shield. But once those words were spoken aloud, everything changed. She could no longer look at his family the same way. And slowly, she began to question him too. Why didn't he defend her more? Why didn't he speak? The shield broke, and with it, something fragile between them. Not every truth deserves a voice. Sometimes, silence is protection. When people bring you words that can harm the person you love, let those words end with you. Protect your peace. Protect your partner. Privacy is not secrecy. Privacy is protection. By holding these 6 pillars close, you are not hiding, you are building something strong, something quiet, something lasting. A place where peace can live. Which of these stories felt familiar to you? Share your thoughts, gently, and with kindness. Subscribe, stay with us, and remember, some things are better left unsaid.